Hello users of Renderfix. Today we are going to review new updates of CoreFinder. Let's begin. First major update is that we added Blender support. So when you install your CoreFinder, it will prompt you to select Blender version. You can select as many as you have, and then I will walk through how to find our button in Blender. So let's start up Blender, and for experiment just launch some scene, and here we must go to preferences, then add-ons, and we must find here Renderfix. Here now my is already clicked, but you will have this in off state, and you will just have to enable this add-on. And after you enable it, you will have this here. This is the output tab, and at the bottom of the output you will have Renderfix deploy render or animation, and you can deploy single render or you can deploy animation. Animation you will deploy will be deployed from this frame range start. For example, if I put here 0 and from 0 to 85, it will deploy this animation. Now let's try deploy animation and launch CoreFinder. Job created. This means that it's deployed. It was a success message down here. And now view. And as we see it, it's deployed here. It is from 50 to 85. Now it has started. I have set my PC's frame count to 5, so it will take 5 frames at once, and it is rendering so fast that it's not even displaying rendering status. You can see in console page that how fast it's rendering, and it's even GUI is not visible, but we can check the output path, and this is what so I had a little scene for example, and when you will have a bigger scene it may render much slower, and you will see the rendering process. But anyway, the Blender feature is new, so there can be many bugs. So you Blender artists go ahead and test it and give us a feedback to improve on this. Now let's move on. The next feature is about 3ds Max. When you go to settings page, here is change max map paths. So what's that? When you have more than one PC on your network, what you would do? You would go to each PC, you would go here, configure project paths and external paths, and you would add paths like a central map paths here on each PC. So each PC now will read maps of your project, and there will be no missing texture errors. But we resolved it like this. When you go to settings page and change max map paths here, you can either edit paths, and you must separate them with semicolon, or you just can add paths and paste paths here, just like I will take this path for example, like this, and all PC on your CoreFinder network will be able to read textures from these paths, but only in case if renders are started from CoreFinder. The next feature we added is also on settings page. You can go down and see the render engines and plugins. Plugins installed on all 3ds Maxes on whole network, and it's showing, for example, that multi-texture is not installed on my PC, but it's installed on somewhere on this network, and it's showing me that on this PC, like checkbox, that multi-texture is installed there. If I click, for example, TypeFlow, it shows that like this yellow background means that there is some version mismatch. My PC has 1.13 and zeros, but here this PC has 1.128, and this means that not every PC has the same version of plugin. But the plugins which look like this, like regular backgrounds, it means that every PC on the network has this version, and they are satisfied. But when you click them, you can see that some of the PCs doesn't have this plugin at all. So it's a good tool to review installed plugins on your network. You can do this also from here, from machines. You can select the machine and you can scroll down and you will see the plugins which are installed on this machine, and so on. And by the way, this feature was also added to the tasks. For example, this task has these requirements here, and when you see this kind of red dot here, it means that one of the PCs don't have this plugin and can't start this task. For example, if your PC doesn't have floor generator and in the task file there is floor generator used, your PC will not attempt to start this render. If you want to push this anyway and you want to force the computer to start render, despite that there is no required plugin, you can click here, delete requirement, and requirement will be deleted and this PC will start rendering this task. And the next feature is create task from CoreFinder UI. You will click here and you will be prompted to select the 3ds Max file, and for example I will select this file. Here we have this similar setup of task settings as we have in 3ds Max, in difference that we can choose templates from here. I can create template by, for example, I will provide some numbers here, like very random, to just show you how it will work, and save template. And if you will name template default, it will be loaded every time you will attempt to create task. As you remember, there were zeros when we attempted to load it at first, but if I will attempt to load it one more time, it's already filled up for me by the default template from here. So you can also choose the template for your task from here. I only have now default, and I will click apply, and template was applied. And then you can click save to CoreFinder from here. Then we will wait and task will be created. By the way, I forgot to mention that from here you can also choose cameras. Here in this scene we have this much cameras, and you can choose one of them, and this scene will be rendered from that chosen camera. Next feature is a little update, but it was requested by users. It's a right-click menu here. You can, for example, if you have selected something, you can deselect all. You can also go to Max file. That means that it will go to repository where a Max file is saved. You can go also to output folder where outputs are saved, and you can execute pretty much every command which is in UI, but it can be handy. The same thing is added to machine page. Here you can execute these commands here also. Next feature is batch selection. When with a control click you can select like this or deselect, and with a shift click you can, for example, select first one and then last one, and all the tasks will be selected in between. You can deselect with control, and it works like this. For example, if now I want to delete the multiple tasks, I will select first one and the last one with a shift click, and then I will click here confirm delete, and the tasks were deleted. For example, either from 3ds Max or from CoreFinder, when you are attempting to save a project, you can choose whenever start task now or later. For example, if I click task immediately and I save task, it will start like painting. But if I click begin task later, it will start stopped. So you can stack up the tasks on stopped status and then resume whenever you want. The same works from here. You can start now or start later. For today that's it, but I have a request for Blender artists to test out CoreFinder on Blender and give us feedback to improve this plugin for Blender artists. Thank you and see you soon.